Oh, and it looks like we are underway. And Uncle thought it was open mode.
Hate to disappoint the uncle. Well, that's something we can't use right now. So since this is standard mode, we do have to go through the escape sequence. However, we will see a... this is Uncle Assured Sword, so we'll see a sword on the Uncle coming up in a couple seconds.
Yeah, having the sword right away, a lot of players just prefer it that have been around a while. It does stress that vanilla execution here throughout escape. Ack making good use of that shovel. He's trying to find a bomb out here. Unfortunately, not finding one right away, but this is something that comes up so rarely that most people wouldn't even think to try it.
It's a nice idea. However, I do believe there are a lot more bomb drops in the pool as a V30. So you're a lot more likely to get one in one of the 4 chests leading to the back of the escape.
Yeah, and we do have that early hammer, so it does make killing the guards a little bit faster too for farming. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. It didn't work out this time, so he is a couple rooms behind, but he'll have more than enough time to catch up.
They also can't argue with him digging for some bombs to try to make sure, because since this is key sanity, the back of escape getting in there is worth a lot more since there's possibly keys back there.
Yeah, and if he was able to get a little bit of money, that wouldn't be a bad thing either, because early on your resources can be a little bit limited in key sanity.
Yeah, having all your dungeon items shuffled out into the world, it can make money scarce.
We do see that guaranteed Hyrule Castle small key.
That's a flute.
That is a flute, which is very interesting. I do know, Ack does like to switch up routes a lot, but with that early flute and needing to get it activated, I would expect to see him go straight towards Kakariko in this instance.
Yeah, I agree on that. Go to Kakariko and then place your bets on where you think the runners are going to go after that. So all we need now is like a mirror, and that's a lot of good movement right off the start.
Yeah, we do have a nice combat ability, nice movement right away. We haven't really gotten any keys yet, so this is how key sanity generally seems to go. You get a lot of those Y items and A items pretty early, but then in the mid game you start filling out your keys, and you have the end game, the go mode is usually you have like a couple keys, a couple items, and it's just getting those last couple things filled in.
Yeah, you have to keep yourself in check, because as you say, you can get item go mode a lot earlier than you get key go mode. And you think, oh, I can just go clear all these dungeons and then rub up against a key door.
You see Hesjustaboy farming those ropes, and he gets 20 bucks and, more importantly, a bomb.
And Ack just got his bomb. Nope. And there's the big 20 as well.
Yep, so let's talk about the choices a little bit more. We talked about them off the top, but we do have hard mode here. So hard mode limits the number of hearts in the item pool. It limits some of the upgrades. So the best you can ever get is Tempered Sword. The best you can get is Blue Mail. Silver Arrows only work in the Ganon fight. A couple other things. Oh, we see a glove in the back of Escape, so they're both going to be glad they found that bomb.
And a useless small key.
Yep. So other things with hard mode, the Cane of Burna does not provide the invincibility. So it makes the game just a little bit harder, and we'll probably see them running on low hearts for a while here. So all dungeons, that means that the runners have to complete all 10 dungeons plus Aga Tower plus Ganon's Tower. So we'll see a lot of areas cleared by our runners.
And there we see the small key to Thieves Town. So we just need a big key, and we'll have all the keys for one of our dungeons already.
Yep, absolutely. Standard mode, we just saw the force escape sequence, so that's already under control. And it does look like Ack is going to do the Houlihan. He only got 30 rupees in the escape sequence, so he looks to make sure he can do everything in Kakariko, which, getting the bottle vendor and having bombs. He's coming here to do the Houlihan, which makes a lot of sense.
On He's Just a Boy side, we saw the Tier 2 tree pull. Oh, that is required Aga.
Well, we already knew it was required Aga, and now it's probably a little bit earlier than we would have thought otherwise. So those flippers there will mean we'll probably see the Aga play before it gets too late in the seed, but it also means we'll probably see the boots before it gets too late in the seed, so that's not the worst thing in the world.
And that's an 8 bomb drop off that crow. That is really nice to find.
And we continue getting those early Y items. We have the Cane of Samaria here in the forest drop, and Ack needs to be a little bit careful here. He took a bit of damage.
And just wipe some of the dust off that Moon Pearl there. Ack is actually our first runner with Dark World access now.
Yeah, he could opt to go straight to the Dark World if he wanted to. I would assume he wants to clear out Kakariko here, but yeah, he can access Hype Cave, Thieves Town, whatever he wants.
Now, with the keys being extra required items, I do like this play of just going straight into race game.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many items in Key Sanity that you'd want to pick up. Unfortunately, a compass isn't one of them. But, even if you were to find, say, a piece of heart in hard mode, you might walk over and pick it up because there aren't that many of them, and they're kind of precious. So just going through and just grabbing whatever's there is usually a pretty good play.
Yeah, your max capacity on hard mode is only 14 hearts. Now, on He's Just a Boy side, over in Blind's Hideout, we did see the small key to Swamp and the big key to Thieves Town.
So that means for our runners, they can full clear Thieves Town as soon as they go there. Now, it is green mail, and it is currently 3 hearts, so not easy. Although with inverted mode being a thing recently, maybe they'll go right in.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen 3 heart green mail red cane blind, right?
Very true.
Granted, they have a sword. That might be a bit easier.
And now they also have a 4th heart. So Ack will be going up here and doing the checks that Hesjustaboy has already completed. Hesjustaboy will be going south, probably finding that Moon Pearl, and he might just elect to go straight to the Dark World. We'll have to see.
I expect to see an early Hype Cave, actually, because of that.
Yeah, the one thing that might make Hesjustaboy put off the Hype Cave check, if he's a player that likes to go towards the digging game, he has absolutely no money right now.
It looks like he just remembered, oh, hey, I have a flute less than 15 minutes in. Now, there were a few other oddities with hard mode. You mentioned the blue cane, the Cane of Burna, does not give invulnerability. While the cape still makes you invisible because that's what it does, it costs double magic. So if they find that, that's still not a great safety.
Yeah, and one other thing I realized I forgot to mention, the boomerang doesn't stun anymore. That doesn't seem like a huge deal, but you know, if you were maybe trying to farm and check the stun prize, no luck with the boomerang. If you're used to, you know, if you're doing Aga Tower and you're used to vanilla strats where you stun the one red guard in the Circle of Pots when he's coming at you, well, that stun won't work anymore.
Also, even though you can only go to Tempered Sword, there are still a total of 4 swords in the pool. So once you hit Tempered Sword, that 4th sword turns into a 20 rupees. The same goes for the shields. There are 3 shields in the pool. However, you can only get 2 of them before the 3rd turns into 20 rupees. But there is only a single male upgrade in the pool. There are not 2 of them. So you only have a 1 in 216 chance of finding it.
Yep, and it does look like Hesjustaboy is continuing to clear out the light world. Makes a lot of sense. He doesn't have any money, and he is a little bit limited on bombs, so perhaps just making sure getting these items. There's probably never really going to be a better time to do it anyway. He has a flute, he can get them quickly.
Getting a little bit of information there.
And it looks like Ack is going right towards the Dark World.
Yeah, you don't get the opportunity to see this route very often, but it is fairly efficient if you can just check the items, then go straight back here. And that mini Moldorm giving Hesjustaboy a bit of a problem.
Yeah, he clutched it out there. I was worried he was going to fall in the pit, but he made it through.
Got GT big key, GT small key, a big key to Meyer, 20 bucks. And okay, we'll probably see later.
Yep, it looks like there was a heart container there, so he's up to 5 now. Ack finds the big key to Eastern Palace here in Skull Woods, opting to do the Skull Woods check first. Meanwhile, Hesjustaboy is checking out Hype Cave for us.
He's checking all these high-density locations first.
But Ack finds the boots here in Skull Woods, so that's going to be a nice advantage for a little while here.
But Hesjustaboy finding the big key to Skull Woods and the hook shot.
Yeah, so no surprise, there's value everywhere you go with a seed that's open this early and is key sanities. So pretty nice finds for both players. Hesjustaboy taking advantage of the fact that the bomb shop guy here will tell you which crystals are the 5 and 6 crystals.
So Thieves Town and Eastern are the 5-6. Our runners are able to full clear Thieves Town right now, and Eastern, they're only missing the bow. Or at least Ack's only missing the bow for it.
So having a small key up here on the bumper ledge, Ack is electing to go get it. It makes a lot of sense. There are quite a few small keys he still needs for his all dungeons clear. Now, Hesjustaboy came over towards Stumpy, and he's at 50 rupees. So what he could do here is play the archery game if he knows the setup to get his last 30 rupees. But considering he's walking right by it, I don't think he realizes his situation.
Small key to Turtle Rock up on the bumper ledge. 80 rupees is a bit of an odd amount. This looks familiar. This looks familiar from the start of the seed.
Yeah, a lot of players have learned the archery game setup because of inverted mode. Maybe, just maybe he has, and he's working his way back over there. Perhaps a little bit more slowly than optimal.
There's a bomb. There's what Ack was looking for at the start. Now, Ack just got a bottle filled with blue potion. There's something else we forgot to mention about hard mode. Is that potions only refill 7 hearts and half of your magic bar.
Yep, so still very useful. It's basically half of your maximum health and half of your maximum magic, but much decreased use from the normal game.
Also, note for Hesjustaboy, he did a save and quit without trying the archery game, so either he doesn't know it or it didn't cross his mind yet.
Yeah, he could be that he knows it, but you know, it's not inverted mode, so he just, you know, didn't think of it. That could absolutely happen to anybody. So no surprise here, Ack has a fully completable Thieves Town ahead of him, and he's just going through it.
Yeah, he's set up pretty well for it, in all honesty.
Yeah, he is up to 5 hearts. He has his boots. He has his sword. Got the hammer, so he won't be leaving anything behind. All the keys. No reason not to do it as long as you're confident with your execution. And Ack is nothing if not confident with his execution. And I say that, and I cursed him.
I believe we call that foot and mouth syndrome.
Well, I think I was pretty accurate in saying he was nothing but confident in his execution. He dashed into that Zigzag with the utmost confidence.
I will give you that one. So usually sword dashes are pretty safe. In this case, the sword was just a little bit low.
So it's fun when you have the small key and the boots. You because of the hint tile, you don't hit the switch here. My guess is he'll go for the key dash, and he forgot to do the key dash. Never mind. Oh wait, there's no hints in this. That's right.
Yeah, runners agreed on no hints.
So, go read that hint tile. So the one thing that could be a little bit interesting here with the you know, all dungeons key sanity, pendant dungeons or agate tower, you could find required keys for them within Ganon's tower. So Ganon's tower, even if you find that GT big key early, you might not be able to just go mode it like in a regular key sanity seed in that situation.
Yeah, anything required for pendants or for agate tower can be in Ganon's tower. So could be a long trek in there.
Now we're seeing with the hook shot, I mentioned that boomerangs don't stun anymore. The hook shot still does. So he's just a boy making good use of that there. Now in the bracket stages, expert will be introduced, and in expert, hook shot doesn't stun anymore. But for now, we got hard mode, we got hook shot stun.
Yep, hook shot's safe till after December.
Now, the one thing I noticed Hesjustaboy didn't do there, pretty much everything that flies in this game, you can kill with a hook shot. So it might have been a little bit easier to get through that situation. He already had the hook shot equipped to go ahead and do it that way.
Now, Ack has found his second bottle, and we've got a B-Torp sighting. And the murder dactyl gets to He's Just a Boy.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. The good thing is he did get his boots out of Skullwood, so at least he can get back to where he was with a little bit more speed, but it looks like he's making a different choice right now. And Ack let that blind fight get a little bit away from him and did manage to clutch it out, though, in the end.
We're already filling out keys here. What, are we in mid-game already?
Well, we do have one dungeon fully cleared on a single dip. That's always a good thing. And really, if we do find that boat soon, we could find some progression at that pyramid ferry. What we find here at the dig game might be very important for Hesjustaboy.
Well, Ack's already made most of his money back. Make that all of his money and then some.
Okay, so Hesjustaboy is not really missing much of anything. Skullwood's small key. All that really is not required if you use your keys intelligently, but logically, you do need to find both of the ones that are out there in the world before Mothula is in logic. That's pretty much the only consideration that you really have to be aware of.
It does make routing a little bit more efficient, though, because when they run to the back, that means they don't have to kill the Gibdo for the small key.
Yep, and that's always nice. And now Hesjustaboy is just loaded with money.
To answer chat, Hookshot is in the back of Hype Cave, which I believe Ack is headed over to right now. Now, the red dots on the crystals you see on the tracker, those are to indicate the 5-6 crystals, which are needed to get the big bomb and blow open the side of the pyramid.
Yeah, so with the flute and the hookshot and the hammer, we technically have access all the way up to Tower of Hera. Now, only 2 chests available in Tower of Hera at the moment, but more importantly, we do have all of East Death Mountain in the Light World.
Yeah, they have the small key for the Tower of Hera, but they don't actually have a fire source to check the basement chest.
So Ack not opting to check Lumberjack. He might just be waiting to blind pull it. He knows he will eventually be forced to do Agate Tower. So once he does, he will go to Lumberjack. Hopefully that is his plan, because otherwise he'll be leaving behind the Flipper knowledge for quite a while.
Speaking of those flippers, we only need a lamp to have logical access to Agate Tower. But true, we still need the keys.
Yeah, we don't have either small key yet. Now, they could already be available out there in the world for all we know. Yeah, we have a ton of locations that are already in Logic that we have not yet seen. We haven't seen anything in the Eastern Palace area. We haven't seen anything in the Pod area. We haven't seen East Death Mountain.
Yeah, East Death Mountain. Well, Death Mountain in general, we can sequence break Old Man. There's Spectral Rock. There's 7 chests over in Paradox Cave, and there's Spiral Cave. So there's a lot over there right now.
Ack using a combo of bombs and sword to kill out the mini Moldorms and just doing a swag hover, because that's what Ack does.
I'll hover all the time.
He can hover, but he can't set up a water walk. Priorities, people, priorities.
I usually see the water walk set up over at Ice Rod Cave. I guess he's not going there.
Yeah, I guess he just wants to route this in here and then flute over to Ice Rod Cave later.
Question is how much later?
Hesjustaboy is, finishing up Thieves Town. Had a couple low heart situations, but has made its way through perfectly fine, and just one more blind fight to go here.
Oh, that's an interesting route.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this sequencing. He set up the water walk and used it just to leave Hobo and Flute.
There's our first medallion.
Yeah, we get the Bombus medallion here in Ice Ride Cave, while Hesjustaboy has a pretty clean blind fight. Use some cane strats to swag it up a little bit.
Now, Ack's doing water walk again, but he's doing it pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, he might have honestly just done it to flute out a Hobo. That sounds like a very Ack thing to me.
You got a small key to Turtle Rock and to Ganon's Tower. But what I was referring to is, I thought usually you set up the water walk, use the fake flipper and Moon Pearl to get out, and then jump off the waterfall after you check Zora, so that way you water walk to the item on the Zora ledge.
Yeah, if you're trying to do the Zora ledge, I think all he was doing it for was to just get to the waterfall of wishing a little bit faster. But yeah, you're right. If you are intending to store it for the potential ledge item, that is how you would want to do it.
Now, fortunately for him, the ledge item was only a map, not as useful in all dungeons run a key sanity. And since we don't have a book, we can't even tell if the pendants are going to lead to anything on the pedestal or not.
So we're getting a lot of small keys, but neither one of those Agate Tower small keys quite yet.
Also, I'd just like to point out, what was the markup on that fighter shield?
Well, this is hard mode, so you can't actually buy shields. So that was quite a discount, really. Nobody told Zora that. He's running a black market in hard mode.
Well, when it's on the black market, I mean, it's worth whatever people will pay for it, right?
That's right.
And is Ack going to check? Yes, he is. Turtle Rock Green Pendant.
So that puts two items that could very easily be, three items that could very easily be in Ganon's Tower: the Ice Rod, the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock, and the Turtle Rock Big Key. So some double dip GT, or possibilities anyway, increasing.
Yeah, I would think that in all dungeons you'd like to see Turtle Rock as a crystal, because then at least you know you don't have to scour all of Ganon's Tower for one, or in this case, two or three progression items.
So Hesjustaboy about to give us our first look at Paradox Cave.
Well, Ack is taking cabbages to the face. So the game's being awful generous with arrows here. Those will go really nice with the bow that they don't have.
Yeah, surprisingly, not a single key or progression item in Paradox Cave. So we were waiting for that for a little while, and we were kind of disappointed.
They've also checked quite a bit without finding one of the three remaining swords. Of course, with it being hard mode, one of those three remaining swords will turn into 20 rupees when they hit tempered.
Yeah, very true. Now, notably, Hesjustaboy is sequencing this, doing Spiral Cave before potentially doing Hera. He might be just intending to skip Hera entirely right now.
I don't like skipping Hera right now. You do have two items you can get there, guaranteed.
Yeah, and it does look like he's going back there. My guess is he was doing Spiral Cave first, just in case that Hera Big Key was sitting there, or even a fire source for the basement. Really, smart decision. But now he'll have to make his way back through the cave again here.
To be fair, it's a short cave, so not too bad. I'm kind of surprised he didn't bonk those rocks to get a fairy to come out, but 3 hearts, it might be okay for Tower of Hera. Be even better if those mini Mordorms didn't take a heart from him.
And I think Hesjustaboy forgot the pact. I think that was part of the whole thing. The bomb.
Forced to have it.
Uh-oh. We are headed to the basement here. I'm hoping he realizes he does not have a fire source. Not yet. Anyway.
Now, did just check IRC. Hesjustaboy did relay to Ack that, yes, he did check that by accident, so they're keeping things on the up and up. And Hesjustaboy now realizing what he just did.
Yeah, so now it looks like Ack will be the first of the 2 into Spike Cave because of that.
Now, remember what we said earlier about potions only being half effective and Magic Cape taking double magic? Yeah, none of that applies in Spike Cave. Potions are as effective as they should be. Cape is as effective as it should be.
All right, so with how much was available early, we're getting to the point where there isn't any really good options where you're probably not going to have to backtrack. So we do have like the Eastern Palace check, but we don't have the bow yet. There are 4 in logic items and 5 that we can get to. We also have Palace of Darkness. We have 2 of the small keys currently.
And Ack is hitting up the Dark World right now. He is not checking Eastern first, and they do not have a mirror to go back.
Yeah, so right now in Palace of Darkness, based on what we know, there are 3 in logic items, which is not an awful lot, but with the 2 small keys and the potion Ack has, he should be able to get the majority of the items in the dungeon. So that's probably what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, I doubt Ack will go through the front door. So you can access a lot more by saving that key to go to the back.
And Hesjustaboy is doing some of these isolated checks that Ack had done a little bit earlier. And Ack making his way through Palace of Darkness.
I'd just like to say, for being hard mode, only having 14 hearts available, They have a decent chunk of hearts at 40 minutes in.
Yeah, being at 8 hearts is not bad at all. I believe I've seen recent hard mode seeds ending on 9 or 10 is actually pretty common. So being at 8 at the 40-minute mark is pretty nice. Ack executing the potion glitch here in pod. They get 2 more items.
Only cost them 180 rupees. Sorry, 160. Where am I getting 180? And we have our... No, Ack already checked Ice Cave. My bad.
Yep, that's where Bombos was, and now Hesjustaboy has that. Ack coming here to the other side and bonking to this chest. We'll have to see. Oh, there's the lamp. So that's an interesting find. The one thing that puts in logic that is pretty awful right now is Hera Basement.
Yeah, considering both our runners just came from there.
Now, what Ack is checking right now, given that he only had 2 small keys for Palace of Darkness, is technically a logical sequence break, but it's just a logical sequence break of a single key. This section of the dungeon is locked by 3 keys.
So there's a red boomerang. As said earlier, though, it cannot stun. It can still hit switches for you, though.
So, given that Ack used his only potion and he used his last key right there on the Harmless Hellway, he is committing to abandoning the drop-down chest in the front, which is actually in logic right now. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, he could go back through and get to... Oh, that's a sword. That is a nice find right now.
Yeah, he could go back through and around, but he would need another potion to do so. So the nicer scenario would be if that lamp unlocked a progression item here in Eastern past the Dark Room. That's also a possibility here.
So right now I'm trying to wrap my mind around how many pod small keys are those flippers locked behind right now?
I mean, we need the 2 Castle Tower keys. Is really just a question.
We still need those Castle Tower keys.
Yeah. I mean, we have the cape and we have the Uncle Sword. And what you know about the Uncle Sword is that the logic always treats it as a progressive item. So sword-wise and lamp-wise, we are good to go for the Aga Tower climb. There's a pod key here as soon as Ack left it. So Hesjustaboy will have a better option, better sequence of options to do while he's in Palace of Darkness.
Also, back on the how many small keys it was locked behind, I just realized it's locked behind 1 because they didn't need the Master Sword to actually get the Aga Tower because they have the cape.
Yep, exactly. So that lamp is locked behind 1 key, but well, actually, no. Well, it is until we find the bow. And I have another pod key. I bet Ack is really enjoying this seed right about now.
Pod Key Palace.
I think that makes 10 hearts already.
It does.
So it really seems like Ack might end up back in Palace of Darkness as soon as this is over with. Unless there is progression here in the last chest to check here.
I heard that. Make that 11 hearts right now.
Yeah, not so bad with the hearts so far. So I'm definitely not sure what Ack is up to right now. I would think that he's just a boy. Getting those pod keys, not having been to pod yet, will likely make that play. But Ack is a little bit of a mystery right now.
Well, looks like he's just a boy is... Okay, he might be going to pod. Or he might be going somewhere else.
This makes sense. Ack did not have the Skullwoods big key when he did Skullwoods, so he's clearing up that. He has a bunch of kind of awkward checks right now. So he's picking one and going for it. Other things that Ack could do, besides going back to Palace of Darkness, is Hera Basement, which is not convenient to get to, and one chest in Aga Tower. I think that's actually it. Oh, and Pyramid Catfish, but who counts those?
And he's just a boy, ran out of rupees.
Oh no. He has not Houlihan yet, and that might actually be the best option for him right now. However, what I have noticed is when people like forget or like out of money midway through a seed, they just don't remember the Houlihan, and it happens to everybody.
So Ack set up the Skull Woods water walk to get across, but he did not check Catfish.
Yeah, this was a really well thought out route. He was routing together some of the only things he had left, but opted to skip Catfish, which is a little bit confusing to me right now. It looks like he's headed back for it. Maybe he has timed this out, and if you're going to backtrack one or the other, it would be faster to do that one. That's very possible. He's just a boy. Used the rupee farm location near Desert to get himself above 110 rupees so he can enter into Palace of Darkness.
Now, He's Just a Boy is probably in a better Palace of Darkness situation right now. Well, no, he would still need 2 potions to check the center, though.
Yeah, so Catfish and Pyramid are, as per usual, just forget they exist. But yeah, we have the drop-down chest in Palace of Darkness that we have not yet seen in Logic. First chest to Aga Tower, and Hera Basement.
And Ack is going back into pod here. I don't think he bought another potion, so he will be burning a key on the front door.
Yeah, given that he has 4 keys now, there's only 2 left. if he burns both keys, he'll need to find one at some point, but it's kind of at the point of the seed where, man, I got a lot of pod keys early on. There's still so much for me to do in dungeons. I have to find another one, right?
Yeah, in Key Sanity, you have to make sure you manage your keys, and through the hammer yump, as well as going through the basement every time, you can get through and full clear with only 4 keys. However, it is a bit time consuming if you do it.
Yeah, so as we see, Ack is just, losing this key. He's fine with it. Gonna go check this chest, and we'll finally get to see that drop down chest. Well, we're waiting for both of those. We got one. Now, what would be really nasty is if the second Agate Tower key is actually inside its vanilla chest.
Well, Axe headed straight there. We'll find out real quick.
Yeah, it seems very likely that one of these 2 chests will have our next progression item, whether it is the other Agate Tower key, because we know that will give us the flippers, or something else entirely.
And flippers would be pretty big right now, because that's a full clear Swamp Palace, and logically, I think that's still quite a bit in Ice Palace.
Not quite yet, unfortunately. We have no mirror and we have no mitts, so by themselves the flippers won't do an awful lot. And Ack opts out. I'm not sure.
It looked like that was a weird glitch because he got hit and was invisible, and it looked like he just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he activated EG in pod. Whoops.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, this is a fun game. Pod is a fun dungeon. You can accidentally activate what's called the exploration glitch. I don't know the specifics. There are many people that could better explain it, but basically he got hit after dropping there in pod, and now he was on a different layer, so he had to reset. Glenn and Chex are both in chat. If you want a better explanation, you can hound them a little bit.
And Agate Tower was useless.
Wow. I think that is Hera Basement.
And it looks like both our runners might end up doing a last location on this.
Yeah, I don't see how you don't end up doing a last location on this. I mean, the way you don't do it is by opting to go to pod with 2 keys before you do East Death Mountain, which that seems unreasonable to me. So I'm not surprised to see this ending up as the last location for both our runners.
Admittedly, I'm a bit crazy with my routing. I don't think I'd do that. So Hesjustaboy was not very conservative with his keys. He did spin that key instead of doing the hammer yump. So that may come back and hurt him later.
Yeah, we know that the other locations in Palace of Darkness don't have progression, so as long as he does not use the keys for those locations, whichever one he skipped, I wasn't sure if it was a vanilla big key or the harmless hellway, but he shouldn't be able to make do with just one more key. However, he doesn't know that. So we'll have to see what he does when he ends up back in Palace of Darkness.
So with what we know of those flippers being on the ledge, I am expecting to see that second castle tower key right about now on Ack's side.
See, I don't think the flippers alone open up enough. So yeah, okay, we got a fire rod. So that opens up what, 2 items?
Yeah, 2 items in Skull Woods.
So we're piecing it together. I actually think the most likely next item, like to open up items, will be the mitts, because that would give us East Step Mountain and get us a few items, probably that castle tower key. And then with the flippers, then we have a full ice palace. So that would really start opening things up for us.
Yeah, but the flippers alone are still a full swamp palace.
Not without that mirror. We still need to find that.
Right. I still forget the mirror. I saw Flute early. It's like, oh, we have a lot of movement. Mirror's still a good chunk of movement.
Yeah, so Ack comes off of a last location that was a pain in the butt to get to, and now he has 2 items open up from that last location. So at least he knows he's on the right track right now. That's about the only good thing you can say.
We went from wide open to railroad in about 10 to 15 minutes.
I mean, the good thing for us as viewers here is we can see pretty clearly that Ack does have a little bit of advantage right now. He's Just a Boy has checked everything that Ack has checked outside of the 1 chest in pod and the Hera basement here. So that's pretty much the difference. Unless we miss thinking of something else.
He's thinking Aga Tower.
Oh, I thought he might have made that play. So no, he still needs to check those 2 chests as well. So we can see exactly what the difference is between our runners.
Ack, your magic is kind of low there.
All right, so he made it through, and he does have Master Sword, so he should be just fine for this fight. You don't really need the magic.
Yeah, Master Sword spins, I believe, do as much damage as the Fire Rod.
Master Sword spins actually do more damage than the Fire Rod. Master Sword slashes and Fire Rod do the same amount of damage. But Ack is opting to go with the hammer. If you can get a good side hit with the hammer, sometimes he'll go to the middle of the room, but he did not this time, and Ack is in trouble. But clutches it out.
Well, there's those Titans myths you were talking about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now we got some good locations opening up. East Death Mountain seems like the obvious play. I mean, honestly, we might be able to get, all the way to Chain Chomps, or even the vanilla Big Key chest in Turtle Rock, but that chest has issues in Key Sanity. You need a 4th Turtle Rock small key if you check that chest.
Yeah, unless you do a hard reset. So we were able to see Skull Woods was another crystal. So we have 2 crystals and knowledge of a 3rd right now.
Well, it does look like Ack is opting to do the Mire shed check and checking the medallion here. If he does end up having the medallion, he might go in because he could full clear it with the sequence break. Wouldn't be easy. He doesn't have the bow and he's only on Master Sword, but he can certainly do it. We saw how he handled Thieves Town and the Zyzax there.
I've seen Vitreous cleared on less. And that is Bombos, so Meyer's clearable right now.
Yeah, and I don't know what I was talking about with sequence break. He does have the lamp. I completely forgot that. So yeah, full clear. Makes a lot of sense.
I'm not sure how the small key logic works out for this though. Like,
that's
what
true.
the logic thinks.
The two chests on the left side are not in logic, and they're far away from being in logic. You technically need all 3 small keys for that. We should fully expect to see Ack check those anyway by using keys intelligently in here. There are a lot of keys just sitting around the dungeon, but they will most likely not be our next progression items.
Yeah, Meyer has a total of 6 key doors, but there are 3 small keys in the dungeon, and we don't open that many keys in here.
You see Hesjustaboy picking up his fire rod, so he's a little bit behind on this linear sequence, but not by much. So things could still branch out and give him a chance to catch up here.
And once he gets those Titan's mitts, there are a couple branches here. Meyer is not the only play that can be made. You did mention Dark Death Mountain.
Ack demonstrating how the fire rod can go through the blocks there pretty well.
Even though he missed that first torch, you still have a bit of time. He can still go ahead and get it activated.
Yeah, so one route that Ack could end up doing here is checking the bridge chest as the 7th chest in the dungeon and hovering on over to go down the other side of the bridge. In fact, I would be shocked if he doesn't go for that because it is Ack. So let's all just wait in quiet anticipation of the moment. Or not. It's fine.
He's still got more to check over here. Quack. So if he had a small key, after checking his big chest and small chest, he could go north, but he doesn't have those small keys.
Yeah, but he has a backup plan ready.
Oh, never mind. That's not the key door. It's the one to the left that's key door. Oops.
And Hesjustaboy is making his way here through the Mummy Hellway, as it's referred to. And get ready for Ack meme route.
There's that second Aga Tower key.
That is pretty impressive. Definitely saves some time there, and looks great doing it. And Hesjustaboy using some nice hammer strats on Moth, so he'll get his mitts here. Ack setting up the spooky glitch for us. And showing us his expertise with the spooky glitch as well.
So that is one that I don't know how to set up.
It's okay, neither does Zach. So he is on 4 hearts here and Master Sword. He'll have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, his health is gone.
Yep, his health is gone. That's about the most accurate we can get there. He is leaving that for a little bit later. So he does have that second Aga Tower key now. He can get the flippers, although he doesn't actually know that the flippers are in Lumberjack unless he checked it while I wasn't looking. So it looks like we're going to get that. Oh, no, he got the flute out.
So I'm willing to bet he's just a boy. Wants that second Castle Tower key in order to get his flippers, but he doesn't know he needs to go to Meyer. Ack, however, has both the keys to get his flippers, but he doesn't know where they are.
Yeah, and since Ack got both Aga Tower or both items out of Aga Tower and doesn't know what the Lumberjack item is, he might not be prioritizing that for a while. But don't let that stop Ack from going to Ice Palace anyway, because that's where he's going.
And it's Bombos for Turtle Rock, so 1 medallion for 3 dungeons. Yes, we have the Fire Rod for Ice Palace, but still.
All right, we're getting our first look at Dark Death Mountain here from He's Just a Boy. 6 items, and then he might make the Turtle Rock dive.
That's a mirror.
Yeah, that's a really nice find. You know, fake flippering here, getting that. Now, we know that he has the opportunity, the full availability of the flippers. He just doesn't know it himself. So it's not really a sequence break. He's Just a Boy does get the Tempered Sword there in Hookshot Cave, though. Now, one way that this might work out for Ack, if he does make a Turtle Rock dip before having the big key, he will have the mirror, so he'll be able to check Mimic Cave.
And who needs bomb strats when you can hover, right?
Yeah, Ack continuing to hover for us. First chest in Turtle Rock, not much of anything. Continuing on there, too. Now, Ack is making this Ice Palace dip without the big key. It could be logically required to do that. However, it could be the case that the big key is readily available right now, and his dip here might give him an unintentional double dip.
Yeah, I believe the big key is logically required to clear the dungeon any way you go.
That is correct. However, you can clear the boss without doing it, without having it. So a lot of runners will opt to just isolate that Ice Palace big chest when it's one of their better options that is left. But it's always a little bit of a risk. We do see that He's Just a Boy died in the roller room, but that's not that big of a deal here in Turtle Rock. You do have a little bit of backtracking you're doing there anyway.
Yeah, and I believe some people also... Oh, there's the Ganon's Tower big key over in Ice Palace. what I was saying on He's Just a Boy side, I have seen some people mirror out of roller room before, so it's not a huge time loss if it was one dying in there.
Yeah, it's depending on what I have, I'll just do that occasionally because being safe enough to get out might be slower than just mirroring anyway.
Plus, it also restocks that full magic refill at the front of Turtle Rock.
So that mirror was a really nice find, but I haven't really seen much else here in Ice Palace.
Hey, you know what that mirror gives access to right now, though?
It does give access to Swamp if you would just go find the flippers.
There's also Desert.
That's a very good point, and we do have the big key. Don't have the small key yet, but with the big key and the boots, we can get 4 items and get a boss down.
If by 4 items you're also referring to Desert Ledge, I believe Desert Ledge had nothing.
No, we have the Landmo item, plus the big chest, the torch, and the center chest. So there are indeed 4 items inside the dungeon. We did see He's Just a Boy check the lava chest in Turtle Rock and save and quit. So he is committing to getting all 4 small keys now. And given that Turtle Rock is the green pendant, that last small key could very well be inside of Ganon's Tower. And the item he got out of it was a Meyer small key, so definitely not required.
However, it looks like he's about to go into Meyer, so we could be seeing our first set of flippers before too much longer.
Yeah, I would expect He's Just a Boy to prioritize Ack Tower because he does know about the flippers. With Ack, it's a dungeon he has to do at some point, but right now, who knows? He might end up doing the Mitz sequence in Village of Outcast because that mirror makes it pretty convenient to do.
And the powder just adds more incentive there because that's 1 more item. Oh! One more thing about hard mode now that we have the powder. You know all those anti-fairies that give fairies when you powder them? Yeah, they only give hearts.
So Ack is starting with that play that you called out, which was going to Desert Palace. He'll get a dungeon clear and 4 items here. Or, nope, he's getting his revenge first and then probably doing the Desert Palace play.
That makes sense. He can mirror right after he finishes and go through the front door. And it's probably quicker than circling around, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, and we'll also get to see take 2 on the spooky glitch here. So we have both runners in the same dungeon now. It's been a while since that's been the case, but no, He's Just a Boy has caught up a little bit. Now, Ack did do the Ice Palace. However, we do not yet know whether that was a smart choice without the big key. It could be that that mirror blocks the big key, so you didn't really have a choice, or it could be somewhere else that is available right now.
Also, with He's Just a Boy going up Death Mountain before Meyer, he's probably going to have an easier time with Vitreous with that Tempered Sword.
Yeah, that's very true. The upgrade from Master Sword to Tempered Sword is pretty huge. With Dark World bosses, Vitreous becomes a much easier fight with the Tempered Sword.
And the mad slashes off the start here. I could be wrong here, but was his slashing there preventing the cape from draining at its increased rate?
Yeah, when you're slashing your sword, for whatever reason, your magic bar does not decrease, so it pretty much only decreases between the frames when you're slashing. It's a really interesting game, shall we say. At least that's the way I understand it. And we get the Ice Rod, so that's always a good find.
Yeah, now we just need a big key for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and I mentioned it before, but there's nothing that's stopping that last small key or the big key for Turtle Rock to be inside the Ganon's Tower. So you'd always like to be able to go mode Ganon's Tower, but sometimes you just can't.
Right. So speaking of Ganon's Tower, Skullwoods, Ice Palace, and Misery Mire were all crystals, so we're on 4 crystals for Ack right now.
Yeah, we at least need the bow for sure before we have all our crystals, but who knows? We might be getting pretty close here. If Swamp ends up being a crystal, we know that's in logic. And if Hera ends up being a crystal, we know that's in logic now.
Yeah, that's another 3 items going up Tower of Hera.
So Ack does find these silver arrows here in Desert Palace. Good find, but they only work on Ganon, so it'll be a little while before we see those in use.
Yeah, even though you have the icon to switch to the silver arrows, you cannot actually switch to them outside of Ganon's room. And that cape ran out at just the wrong time for He's Just a Boy.
Yeah, he might not have been thinking about the increased magic usage, and it just snuck up on him. You have to feel pretty bad when that happens. Little does he know that Ack actually died to the exact same boss, but whenever that happens to you, you're not very happy, and you're probably a little bit tilted from it.
Oh, it looks like Ack's about to get a hug. These Lambo are not cooperating with that Fire Rod lineup.
Yeah, so going back to what we were just talking about, we know that logically we need the Ice Palace big key to get to Ganon's Tower, but we don't really need it. Really, it might just be the bow at this point, which would make it... wow, there's a Turtle Rock big key. That's a great find. That might get Ack up the mountain pretty quickly here. We will take him away from the flippers, though, most likely. And we do see a pendant, so the other crystals still up in the air.
Now, Trinex is not in logic until we find that 4th Turtle Rock small key.
Yep, that is definitely true, but given how Ack treated Ice Palace, where he was not afraid to leave behind one chest that he couldn't quite get with the keys he had, I would expect him to do a mostly full clear of Turtle Rock, leaving behind the lava chest after he checks Dark Death Mountain here. And that looks to be the plan. Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy is coming up on his Vidi refight. And I mean, the other thing that could happen, quite obviously, is he's going to finish Hera here first, and he could easily find that last small key here.
Yeah, at first I was wondering why I was going this way, but yeah, this makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And we as viewers will also get the knowledge as to whether this is a crystal or a pendant. If it's a crystal, then we might, Swamp Palace is the last crystal, then they can get to Ganon's Tower once they put all the pieces. Well, they need the bow. They're a bow away from getting to Ganon's Tower.
So far, not much progression-wise, though.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here is He's Just a Boy is probably going right for Aga Tower. He knows he has to do it, and he knows it will get him the flippers, whereas Ack just has no idea. Given that they're getting close to go mode, we need the bow for item go mode. We need maybe just the pod big key, I guess. Yeah, just the pod big key for sure. And that could be in Ganon's Tower for all we know. I have to wonder how much Ack is going to check of the world before he gets there.
Well, there's the last pod small key.
Now, as of right this very second, Ack does not know that he has the required medallion for Turtle Rock. He's certainly hoping, but in his mind, he has to be thinking, well, I need flippers, I need bow, and I need the pod big key. That's not that many items for how much he has left. He has all of Turtle Rock, all of Swamp Palace, and all of Ganon's Tower for the pod big key. So, there are a lot of items left to check for not many items needed for go mode.
The other thing about, Ack not knowing his medallion requirement there, he has 2 of the 3. Usually at least 2 medallions, you make that gamble.
Yeah, He's Just a Boy is just, tearing through Aga Tower here. We'll have his flippers before we know it. We do have one of the fun guessing games coming up. Fun, I suppose, which is how many blue balls will Aga throw towards He's Just a Boy?
And I think He's Just a Boy forgot about the no boomerang stuns.
Yep, he was trying to use it there. That's another spot that people will often try to use the boomerang to stun, and it just doesn't work.
believe that's one blue ball.
Yeah, only one in the first cycle. That's not bad. And meanwhile, Ack is here in Turtle Rock. I fully expect him to clear the whole dungeon except for the lava chest. Now, the one thing on Ack's side here is that he won't be searching all of Swamp Palace for the flippers because you can't get in the door without the flippers. So that's one thing that he has going for him here.
Our blue ball count is currently 3. And it is finalized at 3.
All right, so Hesjustaboy done with his Aga Tower, going to get those flippers right away, I would assume. Oh, checking King's Tomb, and I don't think we've seen this yet, so this will be an interesting check.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything good in here. The answer is no.
So Ack definitely has a bit of a dungeon lead right now. He is down Aga Tower on Hesjustaboy, but he has completed Ice Palace and Desert Palace and Hera, working his way through Turtle Rock. The really big question is, Hesjustaboy is going into Lumberjack right now. Ack has no idea that the flippers are here. So it really is just a matter of when he goes back to check it.
Considering this is all dungeons, your standard play for all dungeons is save Aga Tower for right after Ganon's Tower. So it may be a while until he thinks to check that.
Yeah, I think after he checked both chests there, that's probably what he was thinking in the back of his mind. Okay, I'll just go do that at the end. But he has not checked Lumberjack, so he doesn't know that that's not really a choice.
Is he just skipping Mimic Cave?
It would appear so.
But he has a mirror and a hammer.
Yeah, I have no idea. Usually I can try to think of why he's doing something, but kind of at a loss. That could end up being really important.
Now he's just a boy. I think he was going up to Route Zor and then realized, oh, wait, I checked that about an hour ago.
Anyway, we're coming up on Laser Bridge, which is a pretty prime location for the bow, potentially. While Trinex and the Lava Chest require 4 of the Turtle Rock Small Keys to be in Logic, the Laser Bridge only requires 3, so these are all in Logic checks right now.
He's running low on health, so he's taking the door and making sure he can actually get out of here. Either get out of here alive or come right back if he dies.
Yeah, it's a smart play when you're running a little bit behind like that on your health. And he's just taking a health refill with laser to the face. He's just a boy. Meanwhile, in Ice Palace, got his mirror. We know there really isn't anything else of value throughout this dungeon, except for the crystal at the end. So it's just a matter of him going through the motions and getting the items as he comes across them.
Also, how about that garbage bridge?
Ack's back down to 3 hearts. And with 4 hearts even, 1 hit on Trinex will kill you from the bodies, or I think directly from the heads as well. Not entirely sure on that one.
Yeah, they hurt. But he gets down. Gets it down pretty clean. You killed the turtle monster. Here, have 20 bucks.
Yeah, and there really wasn't much in here. That green pendant could still turn into something, but this might actually be a good thing for Ack because it might force him to get to those flippers a little bit sooner.
Where's that 4th Turtle Rock small key, though?
I mean, it could easily be in Ganon's Tower, which is making me think this green pendant turn-in that we're about to see is unlikely to be very good. Although it could also be in Swamp Palace, in which case this could end up being the bow.
Well, that's about useless.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where Ack goes now.
Grove Ledge?
Yeah, he might be... Okay, yeah. I think you're right. He's going to do Grove Ledge, Smith. Going to basically do a loop of that. Just clearing up everything he doesn't have here on the west side of the Dark World. Very well could get him the bow. We'll have to see. Hopefully, when he gets up to the top of the map, he mirrors and checks the Lumberjack Cave. Hesjustaboy is down to just Cold Stare in Ice Palace. He made every other check that he can make right now.
Now, what would be rude is if the bow was in that Ice Palace big chest.
Yeah, and there's no reason why it couldn't be. You know, we know that the Ice Palace big key has to be available outside of Ganon's Tower. So, you know, it very well could be. Oh, we have a Palace of Darkness big key. So we're in bow mode as far as we're aware, but Ack is still looking for those flippers.
Yeah, and that key's been available for a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. Basically since they got Mitts, which was on Mothula. He's Just a Boy. Got Cold Stare down, getting his crystal there. With the mirror and the flippers, I think we might expect him to go directly to Swamp. Now, if he does, that might be a little bit unfortunate because we know where the pod big key is now. And while He's Just a Boy is a little bit behind on dungeon clears, he just needs the Hera big key and the pod big key, I believe. As long, along with the bow that Ack also needs.
I've seen enough left side swamp progression recently that I'm kind of partial to this play.
No, it's item dense location that just opened up. It makes perfect sense for him to go here. It's just going to be unfortunate if the bow's in the first chest or something. That would end up being go mode for Ack once he actually gets around to getting the flippers. And Ack is getting some stuff done. Still has not checked the Lumberjack ledge. He's going to come back for a Graveyard, I assume. I'm just hoping he checks the Lumberjack on his way there.
It's also kind of curious that we have not seen the book anywhere.
Yeah, that's almost certainly in Ganon's Tower at this point, but it could still pop up to give a couple of fetch quests for our runners, for sure. And based on where Ack is going, I wonder if he's even remembering that Lumberjack ledge exists.
Well, there's that desert small key. That's a place I almost forgot about.
Yeah, there are 2 items over there. Easily could be the bow.
Now, with that, the only important keys that we don't have accounted for are possibly the Ice Palace big key, and for He's Just a Boy, that 4th Turtle Rock small key.
Yeah, and that might actually end up being a pretty important part of the rest of this equation here. He will need to find the 4th small key because he elected to use one on the lava chest. The other location we haven't seen outside of Swamp here is Mimic Cave, which Ack strangely skipped over. He's been very thorough with everything else, but he just kind of forgot that. Given that he's going back to Palace of Darkness for, I believe, 1 item, I really do think he might have forgotten about Lumberjack.
Well, he also has the big key, so he can clear it right now.
Not without the bow, though. That's yeah, he's looking for the bow for bow and flippers. Once he finds the flippers, bow should be go mode. Now, bow could be here. That would actually work out really well for him as long as he does remember Lumberjack eventually.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. That's bow's here. Also, I heard you like soggy books.
Yeah, we're getting a Swamp Palace of fetch quests here. Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of. Ack is thinking. You never like the pause to think. He has Mimic Cave and he has Lumberjack that he has not checked but are available. We know that one of them has a required item.
Is he checking Mimic Cave first?
Yeah, looks that way. I think he forgot about both, like, legitimately, and the first one that came into his memory was Mimic Cave. And meanwhile, He's Just a Boy is here in Swamp Palace and has not yet found the bow. So left side is coming up empty.
At this point, Axe still has a 1 dungeon advantage, but He's Just a Boy is going to be clearing this fairly shortly, so they're about to be even at 6 all.
Yeah, He's Just a Boy does have that agate tower clear, which it's a dungeon and it's an important one. It does take a few minutes to do, so that is absolutely important. It's kind of hidden on the second to bottom row, not where you're used to looking on the tracker, but it's there and it's important.
And when He's Just a Boy eventually gets over to Desert Palace, I believe that's going to be a more meaningful clear because he'll be able to full clear on 1 trip. And Ack, if there's something in those right 2 chests, he's going to have to go back for them.
There we do have the 4th Turtle Rock small key for He's Just a Boy. That's great. He no longer has to worry about that.
Yeah, that's a nice bailout for him, especially finding it before the big key, because then you're not worrying, oh, could I have just went straight through it?
I think...
He's... Oh. He's going places he's already done.
He legitimately forgot. My greatest hope for Ack right now is he goes and does Agate Tower because it's something he can do. And while he's doing it, he realizes, oh, this gives me Lumberjack Ledge. Like, that's his best hope right now to get back in this.
Now, Ack, not only is he the top seed in this group, he is the number 2 seed overall. So he's definitely a very accomplished runner. But everyone can have something like this happen to them. No one is immune to the I forgot a location.
Yeah, and the full clear of Swamp Palace that didn't directly give the bow for He's Just a Boy is something that Ack is likely to have to do as well. It's fairly likely that one of these fetch quests from Swamp Palace will lead to the bow, but you're not going to leave Swamp Palace just to check them. So that is a long full dungeon that He's Just a Boy has in his pocket now, which Ack has not yet been able to start.
By the way, just a note, Swamp Palace was a pendant.
Yeah, and we did find the 4th key to put Trinex in Logic as well. So we are in a seed where the bow could absolutely end up on the pedestal. Pedestal hype, chat. You wanted it.
That also means Ganon Tower is a pure go mode.
Absolutely it does. That's another really great thing. So we do see He's Just a Boy here in Desert Palace. He will be able to give us our first look at the right side of Desert. Ack is rechecking Kakariko Village. So the way that Ack ended up routing this seed, the runners got shovel right away in Link's house, and Ack did a Houlihan and did a south route. Okay, here we go. Ack is doing something, which is great. He's doing Aga Tower. Now, whether or not he remembers Lumberjack at this point, he's at least progressing through the seed.
Yes, that's definitely good for him. And we just found the bow. Bow, right side, desert.
So that's not yet go mode for Hesjustaboy. He still needs the pod big key, but he is getting awfully close right now.
He also needs Turtle Rock big key. But
that's correct.
So it looks like Ack is going to be keeping his one dungeon advantage for now. But we'll see how quickly he can get through his remaining dungeons and how soon he thinks to go back to desert once he finds that small key.
Well, the good news is he really doesn't have much left. So he'll do a full clear of Swamp Palace, because that's really all the flippers will open up for him. And then he'll have the Desert Small Key in the book, I believe, as fetch quests out of there. So I would imagine right side of Desert will be one of his first checks right after going through Swamp Palace. But, you know, Swamp Palace, a full clear, is pretty lengthy. So we'll have to end up seeing if maybe he'll skip left side just to try to make up some time after spinning his tires and all that.
And Hesjustaboy has his Turtle Rock big key and his Tower of Hair big key. So this is probably Death Mountain all the way for him. And we know Aga is fairly kind because this is only 3 blue balls.
Yeah, and while we don't know for sure that he remembered Lumberjack Cave, we're just going to have to assume that he did. There really isn't anything else left for him. Well, there is Mimic Cave, but he had a little bit of opportunity to remember that, and I don't think that's going to matter anyway, so... Now, really, the biggest advantage Ack has at the moment is where the pod big key was. It's just sitting out there in Village of Outcasts at the Hammer Peg Cave. Hesjustaboy has Turtle Rock to finish. He has Hera to finish. He has Eastern to finish. He might be quite a while before he gets it.
At this point, a full clear Turtle Rock isn't too much longer. Yeah, he'll do Laser Bridge, but that's about the only extension he'll have.
Yeah, the one efficiency he'll be giving up is he could possibly combo pod finish with Eastern Palace finish, but, just a little bit extra overworld travel there. And Ack is headed towards Lumberjack Cave. He doesn't know which of the items that he needs that this is, but he is really hoping that it is one of the items.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, come on, bow. It's not the bow.
All right, so as expected, Ack looks to be proceeding to Swamp Palace, and Hesjustaboy is headed to Torter Rock. Really, this full swamp clear is a long process. We'll have to see if Ack elects to skip left side when he gets to all those fetch quests in there. It is a way that he could catch up a little bit, but it would be a little bit of a risk considering he's checked so much, and the fetch quests only open up 4 items.
Yeah, he'll still be looking for the bow. And there's still going to be that big key to Ice Palace somewhere, which is still one more location. But when you're looking for a single item for go mode, I think you have to just full clear it and just bite the bullet on it.
The one really positive thing is that given that bow is go mode for Ack, the inadvertent hit for Hesjustaboy has absolutely no meaning. No meaning on the outcome here.
Yeah, that's a point. Although it will have meaning for Hesjustaboy because he can actually get that crystal, and is still needs keys for go mode.
Yeah, that is true.
Also, I'd like to point out, Ack skipped the bomb chest.
Yeah, boy. So, hear me out on this one. I think what he might be planning here is to skip everything that's not in the back or directly on the way, and then come back in if he doesn't find bow. I think it's a small gamble to try to pick up a few seconds.
Since he was going through the overworld double checking locations, odds are he feels behind and he needs to make up that time. So I can see where you're getting at there.
Yeah, and honestly, this makes a lot of sense. He's 1 item from go mode, and just by checking items along the way, it's 6 out of the 10 items in this dungeon. So, I mean, in all reality, that makes a lot of sense.
However, it wasn't the item he needed.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. Now, and it probably makes it a little bit harder to skip left side too, because he will get the basically 2 fetch quest items that are in here, but you know, that's after already double dipping. Will he really leave at that point? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Hesjustaboy coming up here on Laser Bridge, really making good progress going through these dungeons. So while the pod big key will be probably one of the last locations he checks, he is just going through these dungeons and collecting the crystals and pendants. So yeah, it really is going to come down and be pretty close, I think.
And that was a clean 1 cycle from Ack. Also, he's got all the pendants now. He can pull ped. As can Hesjustaboy.
Okay, it does look like that was Ack's plan. Yeah, it's not something I really considered, but given the situation, it made a whole lot of sense. Now, the real question is, after getting the Desert Small Key, which is a fetch quest for 2 items, and the book, which is a fetch quest for 2 items, will he continue to the left side?
Well, he saw that small key. He's still going. And wasn't Blue Mail left side? Or no, it was right side desert.
Yep, and it looks like Ack is continuing on here, so he will be doing the full left side check. And yeah, the blue mail was on the right side of desert, but it was after the bow, so Ack will not be getting the blue mail today.
Oh, you think once he sees that, he's just... Well, yeah, he would just be gone.
Yeah, he has no idea the blue mail will be there. It could be in any of the 27 chests in Ganon's tower, so there's, yeah, no reason to even go into the next room.
And clean Trinex kill there from Hesjustaboy.
Yep, that will make his third pendant. Add that to his castle tower clear and his 5 crystals. He has 2 crystals left to gather. And Ganon's tower, the big thing is he just still needs that pod big key. It's just sitting there in hammer pegs.
He'll probably go ahead and do Eastern Palace, though, since it's something he can full clear.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is only one item there, but if it is the pod big key, then he would be in go mode, and he has to do this part anyway. So it makes a lot of sense to just get this out of the way first.
He's not gambling on it, though, because he did not take the portal to get here.
Yeah, that would be a fun way to route it. You know, just say, okay, I know Armos is going to drop this pod key, so I'm going to set up my portal so I can go right and do it. And that would be a very, you know, it would make a lot of sense, but he's not electing to do it that way.
And Ack the tablet checker. So 12 out of 14 hearts in hard mode.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe seed. Now, we know Ack won't be getting the blue mail here, but he will soon get his bow and get into go mode.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 53 seconds in, AcktheBoker is the first runner to enter go mode.
Yeah, and while he's about to get a tiny bit behind on the crystal count, he does have that big key advantage. And right now, for where I'm sitting, that might end up being the difference. We'll have to see just how long it takes Hesjustaboy to get the Hammerpeg Cave.
With both remaining dungeons being, you know, just a world apart, I think even though Ack technically doesn't have the lead, he has the advantage, and he will have the lead very shortly.
Yeah, just how much will really depend on how Hesjustaboy routes this now that he has his 6th crystal.
Also, congratulations for beating the first boss of the game! Here, have $1.
Yeah, it's an appropriate time to kill the Armos Knights at the 2-hour mark. Just like vanilla. Hesjustaboy getting his fire shield from Sahashala.
now I'm wondering where he's headed. Oh, he might be doing the Grove Ledge up into Smith Chain, so...
Yep.
Or I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
He might not have looked when he grabbed that hint by accident.
I mean, it has to be the case right now, because otherwise he would not be doing this check. So, yeah, I guess good on him for not reading the hint when he accidentally read it. But unfortunate for him that he is wasting time here with an unnecessary Pyramid Fairy check.
Unfortunately, I believe the only thing here was what? Cash and a little bit of love?
Yeah, it was something like that. Cash and bombs, or cash and love, something.
Cash? Bombs, okay.
Okay, so he has not yet checked Catfish. It looks like that's what his current destination is. Or maybe he is going to Grove Ledge. Okay, that makes sense too.
Graveyard Ledge in this case.
Ah, yeah, Graveyard. Ack, meanwhile, got his 6th crystal, heading towards his 7th.
Yeah, both runners have skipped that heart piece, so we won't be seeing 14 hearts today.
Yeah, a dozen hearts is a pretty good number for hard mode, though, and especially not having to open a single chest again in Tower to get to that number. All right, so Hesjustaboy here. Given that he did not go for the rock, it looks like he's going for the pedestal. So he'll be forever in our hearts in chat here, but you know, who knows what he'll get, but it won't be what he's looking for.
Well, so it was logically required.
That is just cruel. That is cruel. Like he saw that big key, and he was so happy for a second, and then he saw the news. But yeah, that's a logically required pedestal.
Would have been so much better if it was the GT big key.
All right, so Hesjustaboy only has a couple locations left. He is grabbing the Smith, but he'll do Hammer Pegs next, I believe. So he will enter Go mode, but Ack is... what?
What's Ack?
Oh, he's getting arrows. This makes a lot of sense. So Ack is down to 3 arrows. In B30, all the upgrades were moved to the Pond of Happiness here in the Light World Ice Palace area. When you buy one of those upgrades, it also refills your arrows. Since Ack was down to 3 and he's headed to Ganon's Tower right now, he decided, I'm going to make a quick pit stop and do that.
Now, it was actually recently hotfixed to where in hard mode, there are only a pair of 5s and a single 10 upgrade. And the cost is doubled from 100 to 200 rupees for the upgrades.
Yeah, and Hesjustaboy got his pod big key, and I guess he was just wanting to get rid of the smith, so he took him to his house. Okay. So Hesjustaboy is only a go mode pod away behind Ack right now, but Ack is certainly a little bit in the lead here, headed towards the portal at Turtle Rock, and has a go mode Ganon's Tower ahead of him.
Yeah, normally this lead could be a bit easier to bring down with a left-right decision Ganon's Tower, but as you said, this is a go mode Ganon's Tower. We already have all the keys, so it's pure execution from here on out.
All right, so Ack is climbing Ganon's Tower here. We're seeing red mimic rooms at the same time, just different rooms.
We're in the right world, just different sides of it.
All right, coming up on the Gauntlet here, making use of those purchased arrows.
Going through here really clean. And he's just a boy. Those turtles are getting away from him a bit. No one likes a turtle, at least not in this game.
All right, so you know a pretty good Gauntlet. A couple non-optimal rooms, but you'll have that a lot, especially with the diminished resources here. Taking down Landmo with the Fire Rod. Yeah, he got through Gauntlet pretty cleanly overall. And Hesjustaboy is about to get his 7th crystal, so he'll be up to Ganon's Tower before we know it.
Also, it was a really nice time for a full magic drop for Ack.
Yeah, he would be okay. There is a full magic before he would really need it, but it does help him route these rooms a little bit.
Yeah, it means now he's guaranteed not going to have to take the time to actually grab this one coming up and can just get the last one. He's just a boy making his way up for that final climb. But at this rate, it might be too little too late. Swag!
Yep, looks like Ack has one more hover for us, and hovering the Modorm T-Gap. Finishing off that Ganon's Tower with the 0 out of 27, you always love to see that.
That's key sanity for you. He's just a boy trying to catch a fairy. I don't think you can catch fairies in hard mode, though.
No, that is yet another one of the modifications for hard mode. You cannot catch fairies with the bug net. You still can catch bees, though, if you wanted to make use of that.
Oh, bees are amazing! And swordless.
That's true. All right, Ack will be dropping into the Ganon fight just about the same time that He's Just a Boy is entering Ganon's tower.
Great, now I want a burrito. Hashtag blame Ganon. Nice dash strats there for a one cycle, but those bats on green mail taking 4 hearts apiece. Not giving a lot of room for error.
Yeah, he's in Oko right now, but it is phase 3, so he should be fine. Just has to get through these last couple swings and then line up some arrows.
And one note is that is after he used the blue potion.
So earlier we did see Ack go to restock his arrows before Ganon's tower. We see that He's Just a Boy is really running low at this point. And that's GG for Ack. And with that, Ack finishes in first place with a time of 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 19 seconds. GG. While He's Just a Boy is making his way through Ganon's tower, we can bring on in Ack for an interview. GG, Ack.
GG, yeah.
So, did you know that Lumberjack has an item?
Yeah. I think I might want to just go ahead and start checking that in my route, just for my peace of mind, you know? It's weird because in Key Sanity you can put it off so much because there's quite a bit of items behind it, but yeah, I guess I'll maybe think about remembering that one for a while.
Yeah, it was a little bit worrisome, but you got back there before it was too devastating, I would say.
I'm pretty sure I missed Mimic Cave too, is that correct?
Yeah, you kind of missed it twice.
Yeah, I didn't remember doing the Pearl Rock area or the big chest or Mimic Cave, and then yeah, when I was stuck looking for the flippers, I was like, did I do that? And I went back into the dungeon, but then I saw my compass and it said 11 of 12. I knew I had left the middle chest, and I was like, man, there's no way that I went in there and grabbed the big chest, but, you know, forgot about Mimic Cave. That would have been really dumb. And then I left and started looking around, and then it dawned on me that, right,
So, He's Just a Boy ended up finding the bow quite a bit before you did. But his go mode was that pod big key.
Oh, right. The one that was in the, Orpet area. That makes sense. You were so locked out without the mitts for so long, and then once you got the mitts, you actually had a decent amount of stuff that you could do. And then, yeah, I mean, I didn't do that stuff until, you know, I was still looking at flippers. And if you had the flippers, I would have had it. Yeah. That makes perfect. And the Siege was just weird like that, too. There were so many times, I feel like I set a record for, like, alright, well, there's got to be progression in this chest because I've got nothing left. And then the cold sweats started happening that pod big chest came empty because I really had no idea where to go after that.
Yeah, we saw you double checking, and it was just a matter of how long was it going to take you to find that, to go through Aga Tower and find that there's something there.
Yeah, so I should have instinctively just went to Aga Tower just because it was something I needed to do anyways.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. When you started doing Aga Tower, was it just because you needed to do it? So I was just going to do this until I think of something else, or did you go there because you remembered Lumberjack?
I did remember Lumberjack prior. Once I did like Kakariko and stuff, and I got over in that area, then it occurred to me, dude, I got that second small key, and it was like, it was the worst because I had checked both those chests looking for the mids, and then I kind of just rode off doing, Aga 1 until I finished Aga 2. But that was going to be really hard when, there was an item in the Lumberjack.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense how that would happen. Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy is done with Aga 2, so we'll see his Ganon fight here.
I just want you to know I'm really mad at you, Korek, because I didn't do pod, because you got mad at me because you did pod. So I'm mad at you for not doing pod, because you would have saved so much time if you would have went to pod before the mountain. And I wanted to do it, and I didn't do it because of you, and this is all you.
It's alright, we can just blame each other for our time loss and our respective seeds.
It's really nice that we like to do each other's routing instead of, the routing that we go with. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
I mean, you two did pair with each other for a 2v2 tournament about a year ago at this point, so you know each other pretty well.
Yeah, no, Korek's awesome. I like to theory craft and stuff. Yeah, we both just decide to adopt each other's strategies when if we would have just done what we always do, it would have worked. Let's go to random.
So, did you see what was on the pedestal?
I did. It was the Ice Palace big key. But you know what? I was such a mess this seed. I think I need more coffee. I had actually marked Ice Palace as a pendant. And that was also stirring my brain a little bit because I was like, are the flippers in Ganon's tower? Like, I had no idea, like, what was what at that point. And I was like, I think it's possible, but I'm not sure. It was really awful for me, so I didn't really care what was on the pedestal because I thought that Ice Palace was it, and that would have changed quite a bit of things. But I would have gotten there, man. I mean, I would have pulled it, I think, after I had gone desert left. I Ether Tablet, and then my last chest of Turtle Rock. That would have been really exciting. To be honest, I was like, the bow's got it.
Now, unfortunately, He's Just a Boy did take a death over here on Ganon, but it's on third phase now, so we should see it done fairly shortly.
Well, thank you guys for the restream and the commentary. Thank you, Dark Shadows. Look forward to, I'll be seeing you later. Go, Rick.
Yeah.
Iceman, thanks for tracking, dude. Tracker is the, the heart that keeps the restreams running. Can't do anything without the tracker. They keep everybody on. Have a good one, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thanks and GG's. Yeah, definitely thanks to Iceman for keeping track of everything. Key sanity requires a little bit more work than usual.
Yeah, and he was on top of everything the entire game. And with that last silver arrow, He's Just a Boy is finishing here in second place. And he has a time of 2:20.32. So GG to him.
Now, Key Sanity itself is still a fairly volatile mode, especially when you include all dungeons. So the fact that both of them still finish within 8 minutes of each other, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. And joining us now for an interview is He's Just a Boy, GG.
GG. That was quite the seed.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how you feel about that.
Well, I got a little rattled when I checked that hint by accident, and then I forgot that I didn't have fire source, and I did tile room. And then it turned out that tile room was really required, and I imagine that hurt both of us quite a bit.
Yeah, it was literal last location for both of you. Not very surprising given where the items were, but yeah, that's a little bit of a rough one.
Yeah, and I had a couple money issues. I just wasn't paying attention, I guess. But I mean, I'm surprised that Ack took as long as he did. He must have had quite the rough go here, because I expected him to be done around the 2-hour mark.
He never checked Lumberjack Ledge.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he kind of forgot that it was actually a thing for maybe a good 5 minutes or so. So he was rechecking Kakariko for a little bit. Eventually, he went and did Agate Tower, though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It's the first time I played Key Sanity, I think, since the Key Sanity tournament.
Yeah, towards the end, you were ahead until you finished Eastern Palace and did not have the big key to pod.
Yeah, I thought about right after finishing Swamp to just loop up, do the Smith stuff, and if I would have done that, it would be in Go mode. That would have been a big advantage, I think.
Yeah, if you'd done that, that might have actually been enough to win.
I mean, that makes sense, but at the same time, you had just gotten, the last item you needed to be able to full clear Desert Palace, so it makes a lot of sense what you did. So I can't really fault any decisions you made, but it just was unfortunate where that pod big key was.
But that's Key Sanity for you. You almost have to full clear the game every time, especially with an all dungeons run.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, the fact that you both finished within 8 minutes of each other in Key Sanity all dungeons of all things, yeah, it's still a pretty good race.
When I pulled the pedestal and I got that big key, part of me was like, should I go check Ice Palace right now? I mean, Ack hasn't finished yet. What is going on? Something has to be really trolly. But I couldn't leave the Smith stuff any longer. Too many locations to just go check stupid chest.
So when you pulled that key out, did you think you just found the pod big key before that text came up?
Oh, absolutely. I was like, yes, all right. Disappointment.
So I guess logically that pedestal was required because logically you need that big key for Ice Palace, but bomb jumps exist.
Yeah, if you can't bomb jump, then that would have sucked. But Ice Palace was quite the play too. Mirror. And I can't remember what else I found in there. Another big key, I think, to Ice Palace or something. Or Desert. Or GT. GT's big key was in there. That's where that was.
Yeah, you all didn't need hints this seed.
Yeah, checking everything.
So overall, what do you think about this one?
I can't be too upset by it. I had a death on Vitreous, which I was a little upset about. Brain farted that hard mode makes your magic complete extremely fast. That hurt. Because I had a potion too, and I would have used it.
Yeah, Ack had a death there as well, so didn't hurt too much.
Yeah, but I think I played all right. Yesterday, I forgot to check Uncle. I went and checked the sewers, and I missed that chest, and that was my Titan's Mitts as well, and that one really hurt me quite a bit. So I'm just happy I didn't make any too big of errors.
So this was Ack's choice. any previews for the crowd on what you have in store for Ack in your next match?
Well, I'm quite a fan of Randomizer, so I might do that, but I'm probably going to be picking Randomizer on everybody, and I don't know, I might also do Inverted, because I really like the bunny sprite on Nagus, so...
Well, you can't mix Inverted and Randomizer, so you gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah, it'll be one or the other, but...
Thanks for the heads up for later, though.
Yeah, expect Randomizer, most likely, Dark.
All right. Well, any final thoughts for us?
No, I'm just happy the way the tournament's running. Just excited to be in the top 96. It's always a good place to start, and just get wins when I can get them, and do my best. And thank you guys for restreaming last minute, Tracker, and everybody.
All right. Well, GG. Thanks everybody for watching. We have all sorts of fall tournament action this week and for the next 5 weeks of groups on all the Speed Gaming channels and Link to the Past Randomizer channels. I'm not going to go through the list. Basically, if you go on Twitch and you're following those channels, I'm sure you're going to find a match most of the time over the next couple weeks. So stay tuned. I've been Korek.
And I've been Dark Shadows 59.
Have a great day, everybody.